Well, good morning everybody. It's a bit of a chilly one today. It's very, very calm, but by heck, there's a chill in the air that's I haven't walked far from the van so far, and I've not really had a chance to warm up, so I'm feeling the cold. I probably should get a bit of a march on and get warmed up, but I couldn't help but notice I've literally walked into the wood, and I'm probably only 30 yards from the entrance, and I can't help but notice the woodland floor is full of this almost monotone of brown, and there is some slight variations in it, but on the whole it's a consistent colour throughout, and it's really catching my eye. To the large extent, the leaves on the ground are sycamore, and I think that's why you've got this consistent colour. But just dotted about here and there are some of these big old turkey oak leaves, and I've got one here that really caught my eye. It's bigger than most. The turkey oak leaves are very, very varied, and you can get some with deep lobes, some with just deep lobes between. The lobes are sort of the bits of the leaves that stick up and then go down and then up again. So the lobes are the top bits, and then you've got the sort of dips in between. Very varied, as I said, the leaf shape. And this one that I've got down here is quite a big one. It's got a big flat area to it that I can get the camera nice and close up to and take advantage of the flat surface. Now this particular leaf is breaking down, and you've got holes in it, and within the holes you see the veins, the structure of the leaf, and I like that. And then you've got the main ribs of the leaf running through the scene or the image, and they're a slightly different shade of brown and more of a chestnutty brown, and it's a really nice close-up. It's actually a macro, this. I'm only about 8 inches from the surface of the leaf. I've angled the camera not directly over the top, as you can see. Hopefully you can. I'm slightly back and angled up a little bit because the leaf isn't flat on the floor, and it's all about maintaining that flat plane of the sensor in terms of to the subject matter. So that minimises my chance of having to, or should I say my options of having to stop down too much to say f/22, where I get diffraction and the quality of the image degrades. I'm working on my typical f/16, which is a nice sharp point for this particular lens, and I've done a focus stack of about 5 images starting at the bottom, and I've said this before, I generally get down and look at the leaf from different sides, and I assess where the high points and where the low points are, and then that's how I arrange my focus stack, and I move from the very, very bottom to the very, very top. It's 100 ISO, and the shutter speeds at the moment are 2 seconds, 2-second exposure. Not a lot more to say about that. It's a lovely way to start the morning, nice easy shot, but I think it's time to get a move on and get warmed up, so I'll put that on now. Oh, I'm really liking that. It so does pay to keep your eyes peeled when you're walking. I'm literally walking back from the van again. I've just nipped back to have a bit of a warm and a quick coffee after doing the shot of the leaf just over there, and walking down the track, and I couldn't fail to notice this here, this area of green leafy plant is actually a foxglove. And foxgloves are just getting going now. If you've never seen foxglove in full a full flower. They grow to about this height, and they got lots of pink lobed flowers hanging from them on a big long spike. If you're from the UK, you'll be familiar with those. But because this is just getting going, the central part of the rosette of leaves is a different colour to the slightly older leaves around the edges, and that creates a great focal point. But there's a beech leaf, and last week's video I mentioned a stone that no one would have believed I hadn't placed it there. Similar scenario again, this beech leaf that's just got hooked behind one of the foxglove leaves just happened to be there. And one of the comments in the last video was you should have photographed it anyway, and just, you know yourself that you didn't put it there. So I'm going to do that this week, and I've just photographed the plant now with the leaf in position. It's probably not even going to stay. It's flicking around. It'll only take a bit of a stiff breeze and that leaf will have gone, never to be in that position again. So a really lucky find. But the fact that it's got this lovely fresh foliage and the slightly lighter colour in the middle, it just jumped out at me as I walked down the track. A really nice composition, very, very simple, not a lot to it, just lovely shapes and textures. Now, I would have liked to have focus stacked this, but this leafy material is really catching the wind, even though it's only very slight, and there's no way I can focus stack this. There's just too much movement. So I've actually gone for f22, and I'm going to sacrifice potentially a bit of sharpness just to get the shot. But it's a really lovely shot. ISO 200, I did bump that up just a little bit just to give me just a slightly faster shutter speed. I'm on an 1/8 of a second, so really it's quite a slow shutter speed, but a really nice find. Wasn't expecting that at all, so I'll put that on now. So making sense of the chaos on the woodland floor is no different to making sense of the chaos in a woodland landscape. It's exactly the same. It's looking for those real parts of the scene that jump out, the contrasting elements, the strong shapes and lines and textures. Now in this shot that I've got lined up here, this in itself is by no means a great image, but there are aspects of this scene that I like, and it's those parts that I look for that stand out to me when I'm composing a final frame. Just look at this leaf here. This stands out as an anomaly, as does this lovely textured surface of this leaf here. Now the scene in itself is full of these crisscrossing lines that really don't add anything to the frame, and it's those sort of things that you need to be looking to exclude. Everything within the shot needs to hold together and hold its own within the frame. What I do like about this are all those lovely, beautiful golden tones, but making sense of all this chaos is something that I urge you to practice in the field. It's not as difficult as it may seem. Just like I say, keep your eye out for those lovely, strong parts of the image, and with a bit of practice you'll start to compose images that you're really, really proud of. I've just hit on another really lovely image. I don't know what it is about today, but I'm obviously feeling the creative mindset. It's just stuff seems to be just jumping out all over the place, and I'm not restricting myself today. I'm going with whatever I see, regardless of whether I've done similar things before. And I do a lot of this shooting down, looking at the ground, because I just see so many patterns on the ground, and I don't want to waste opportunities. So I'm absolutely 100% shooting this. This is really lovely, and just such a nice image. And I'm going to get the video camera now on the back of this. Hopefully I can get it up high enough and just talk you through this really beautiful, intimate study of decaying leaves. So as you can see, really nice composition, all hanging together so beautifully. The main component is this bracken frond that's curling round from top left to bottom right. I love the inclusion of that little bright leaf just there, and crucially holding the top right is this leaf here, just the sycamore leaf on the top right there, that lovely dark golden colour. And look at the veins just fanning out just to help that corner of the composition. Now when I take this shot, I'm going to underexpose it to expose for the rib of the frond. So really everything else around it goes into a very, very dark and moody look and moody feel about the image. If I expose it correctly, that rib down the centre line will burn out. So I like the inclusion of mood within images like this. It really speaks volumes about the woodland floor at this time of year. So it's going to be somewhere around about there. As you can see, this is f19. I am going to adjust the ISO to 100 because nothing is moving in this instance. If you look in amongst the bracken frond, you'll see there is just a little green bit of grass peeping through there that I am going to remove because that really hasn't got any place in the image, and a couple of little bits just here in the top left as well that need to go. They don't add any value to the shot whatsoever, so I am going to get rid of those. I am going to do a focus stack with this because there's a lot of depth to the image, and I just feel I want everything as crisp as absolutely possible. So I'll put that shot on now. So hopefully in that last shot, put a little arrow to it, you could see a roe deer in the distance in the wood, and I've been watching it for some time. And when I first came across it, it was laying down here, and it would have probably spent the whole day here, but it got disturbed. Now it wasn't me. There's a group just come through with a dog, and looked like possibly a teacher with some youngsters just enjoying the woodland, and they just happened to walk in the path of where this deer was resting. But I've never actually found one as a confirmed place. Often these look like places where deer have been feeding, but this is much bigger. This is almost a bed. It's strange because you've got a big patch here and then another smaller patch there. I really don't know how they rest up, but it's actually still warm. It's literally just left. Really lovely to see, and it's almost like it's made bedding to get itself comfortable. But what a great little find. Really chuffed that I've found this. But like I say, it probably would have just rested up here all day. This wood gets quite busy, but this is just off the beaten track, so ordinarily it wouldn't have been disturbed here. And I was fortunate enough that I spotted the head quite early on before I got too close. It's lovely roebuck, and antlers, and they had the velvet on, just coming into its best, ready for the rut at the back end of the year. But yeah, what a nice find. Shame it had to be disturbed though. So I can't emphasise enough the value of standing still and just observing your surroundings, and I do that so often. More often than not, I need to remind myself to do it, and I do it when I feel that I'm not seeing opportunities, and it's just a case of trying to be present within your environment. And this is what I've done just here. I had a bit of time out, second time today. I did that a little while ago, just before lunch, and didn't come up with anything on that occasion, but it's so worth it because I've just done it here. And as I was stood at the top of the little rise there, I noticed this here, and this is simply just a hogweed stem, a dead hogweed stem. Very, very big plant, as you can see, and I've photographed this before, but I've never photographed it in this stage. Now, I talk about images in a scoring system from 1 through to 5, and I don't feel that I get 5s very often at all, once or twice a year. And I have to say, the picture that I've just taken, it's definitely a 4 in my book, and I'm considering that it could be borderline getting up for a 5. It's one of the nicest images I've taken for a while. When I say images, I've taken a sequence. There's quite a few variations on a theme, and what I've done is I've just macro lens, aperture priority f4, and I've used this method before, just underneath the plant and watching the viewfinder, the LCD screen, and just manoeuvring the camera around the seed heads and looking for nice compositions. I generally don't move the focus, I generally just move the camera in and out. Now, I've deliberately overexposed the shot by a 1.5 stops. I'm shooting up to a white sky, a bright white sky, and I want to bring that white back up as much as possible without burning out too much. But the seed heads almost look like harvestman spiders. Daddy longlegs is the more commonly known, and I've just been playing around with different compositions using the little what appear to be legs and framing them up really nicely within the frame. And there's some lovely opportunities, and I'm loath to go away because I just keep seeing more all the time. I've probably taken 40 shots at a guess. And I'm sure I've got more than 1 or 2 good ones at that. But like I say, I think this is creeping up to the 5 mark quality. Really chuffed with this image, or so these images. So I'm going to put the best of those on now. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Images to come in just a second. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to press the like button, and if you want to see more, you can always subscribe to the channel. It costs nothing to do that. Leave some comments, let me know what you think of today's images, and if you want to support the channel more, you can always become a member. You can do that by joining YouTube or Patreon for as little as 99 pence per month. So until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.